What if I told you that everything you perceive in the external world, along with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and your own identity, is an illusion, and behind and beyond all this, there lies an unchanging, eternal consciousness which is your true nature? In the next 15 or so minutes, we are going to explore one of the most profound and mind bending texts in Indian philosophy and in Advaita Vedanta. This text is Drig Drishya Viveka. This is the discrimination of the seer and the seen. And this ancient text and this ancient wisdom has the potential and power to transform your life and completely change the way in which you look at reality and your own self. The Advaita channel is about consciousness, conscious living, and conscious creation. Here we explore Vedanta and various other ancient spiritual teachings from India to understand the nature of reality and to live a conscious and a fulfilled life. The part 1 of this video is about the introduction to Drig Drishya Viveka. The word Drig Drishya Viveka in Sanskrit means an inquiry into the discrimination of the seer and the seen, which is differentiating between the subject and the object. And we will learn more about what exactly this is in the next part. Some say that this work was actually composed by the great Adi Shankaracharya himself, but many also attribute this to Bharati Tirtha in 14th century. Now let us understand the basic framework on which this work is composed. And understanding this is the roadmap to understanding the nature of reality itself. Now the basic premise of this text is based on two things. One is the seer or the subject. Second is the seen or the object. Now the seen is the drishya, and this is everything that we perceive. This is the entire external world, all the external happening activities, and our own internal thoughts, feelings, emotions, belief systems, along with the ego or the sense of I. All of this comes under the seen, and the seer here is the pure witness, the infinite consciousness. And we will get here by the end of this video. For now, you simply understand that a subject and an object are inherently different from one another, and you can only be the subject and you can never be the object. This is what we must understand first. With this, let us come to the second part of this video, where we will go into the core message of this text. And I will first read from the verse 1 of Drig Drishya Viveka directly. The form is perceived and the I is its perceiver. It, the I, is perceived and the mind is its perceiver. The mind with its modifications is perceived, and the witness or the self is verily the perceiver. But the witness or the self is not perceived by any other. Now, what this text is saying is very direct, is actually very simple, and it is talking about the essence of Advaita Vedanta and consciousness. By simply understanding this single verse, we will get the essence of the entire Advaita Vedanta along with all the Upanishads. Now, let us carefully examine what this text and what this verse is actually telling. The verse is telling us that a form is perceived and the eyes are its perceiver, and the eyes are perceived and the mind is its perceiver. But at the end, the mind itself is perceived and the witness or consciousness is the perceiver, but the consciousness itself is not perceived by any other. So this is the ultimate level. Now let us understand this with a simple example to get to know what consciousness is and to get to know who we are in our essence. Now let us take the example of this very video. You're watching this video now. This video is simply a form. It is simply a combination of different images, sound, visual effects, etc. All together, we can call it a form which you are perceiving right now. As you're watching this video, at first, in level 1, your eyes are perceiving the form, which is the video. So, at level 1, the video itself is the object and your eyes are the subject. And here, the subject and the object are different. Now, let us move on to level 2. In level 2, the eyes are simply the instruments of perception, and the eyes transmit the signals and they send the signals to the brain. And at this level, the eyes are the object because it is sending the signal, whereas the brain is the subject, which is receiving or perceiving. And if we go deeper, the brain itself processes information, whereas the mind is what experiences this information and actually perceives it. So, in level 3, the brain is the object, whereas the mind is the subject, because mind is experiencing the information which is processed by the brain. Until here, it is easy to grasp. But level 4 is where we need to go even deeper. Now, go within yourself and inquire on this and think about this deeply. When you are perceiving something or when you are thinking a thought, there is a thinker, there is the ego. But if you close your eyes and if you observe yourself and if you look at your own experiences, there is someone or something behind the ego, which is always there, which is witnessing or seeing the ego itself or the thinker itself. Now, at level 4, what we need to understand is that the mind itself is being witnessed by the consciousness, which is the ultimate subject. So, this consciousness that you are is the ultimate subject, whereas the mind is the object. You can never be the mind, and the ego or the individual identity is an aspect of the mind. Since this ego itself can be witnessed, can be objectified, I cannot be the ego. This is the logic behind Drig Drishya Viveka. So, at level 1, the video is being perceived or being seen by the eye, but the eye transfers the signals to the brain and the brain processes this information, and this information is experienced by the mind, but the entire process is witnessed in your consciousness. Your awareness or your consciousness at the fundamental level is witnessing everything and is experiencing. So this is who you truly are. This is our true nature as per Vedanta. Now, to understand this better, after you finish this video, just sit by yourself for a few minutes, close your eyes and deeply think about these questions. A thinker is thinking a thought, but there is someone or something behind the thinker, beyond the thinker. Who is this? What is this? Think about this. And also think about that aspect of you which remains unchanged. If you look at your own experience, when you were very young, your body was different, your mind was different, the types of thoughts you were thinking was different. And now, your body is completely different from when you were a child. And your mind is also very different. You have learned new skills, you have new patterns of behavior, etc. But there is something in us, there is something in you that remains unchanged. If we think about this even a little bit, we will grasp this. There is some aspect to us which is the same throughout our life, which never changes. That is why even after we get older, we have the sense within us that I'm not actually very old. I still remember being a child. I don't believe myself to be this old. There is something within us which is eternal, which is unchanging. And if we pay attention, this will be more and more evident to us. Drig Drishya Viveka, this text is pointing towards that reality, that aspect of you, which is you in essence, which is your true nature, that remains unchanged. That is the infinite consciousness within which the universe itself appears. In part 3, let us go through the 4 important takeaways from Drig Drishya Viveka. Takeaway 1 is that you are in essence the infinite consciousness. You were never born and you will never die. You are not the body and you are not the mind. Point 2 is that the nature of this infinite consciousness is that it is Satchit Ananda. It is existence, it is consciousness, it is pure bliss. It is untouched by anything and it is ever free. And the more we go towards it, the more we become what we truly are, the more we experience this bliss and this freedom. Takeaway 3 is about the apparent duality and separation. So, Maya is what causes this separation. Maya is simply the creative potential within that infinite consciousness. And because of this, we are born with an identity. Every animal is born with an ego. This ego is necessary for our survival, for the survival of the body. But human beings have the potential to transcend this ego and recognize their true nature. And to do this, we need to go beyond Maya. We need to go beyond this illusory reality of duality and separation. And the takeaway 4 is the path to liberation. There are 3 simple steps that we can learn from this text to understand how we can achieve liberation. And these are the 3 steps: discrimination, meditation, and intellectual realization. Discrimination is simply about discriminating between the seen and the seer. We must understand that since we are the subject, we can never be the object. And since we cannot be the object, we cannot be the form, or we cannot be the eyes or the brain or the mind or even the ego. Since the ego itself can be objectified, if we try to do so, we cannot be the ego. We can only be the subject, which is the infinite consciousness. And this is not based on faith as per Vedanta. This is the truth, and it can be experienced by each and every one of us firsthand. So this is about discrimination. The second step is meditation. We need to meditate upon this knowledge and we need to take this in. We need to look at our own experiences and we need to try to witness the ego or the identity which we think we are. By consistently meditating, we will begin to recognize our true nature. And the third step is intellectual realization. This is the right understanding of the scriptures of the Upanishads. By studying the Mahavakyas like Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, etc., and by truly understanding what they are pointing towards, we begin to transcend the illusion set forth by Maya and achieve liberation. So, this was all about Drig Drishya Viveka. So, Drig Drishya Viveka is a profound text and it is a very powerful tool to self-realization. And this method of discriminating the object from the subject has helped me a lot in my own life to understand these teachings better and to experience more peace. So whatever may be your problem, whether it is stress, whether it is anxiety, whether it is poverty or mental health issues, to all of this there is a solution. And the solution is conscious living and conscious creation through the understanding of the nature of reality and Vedanta. And the Advaita Conscious Society is just about this. ACS is a community cum learning platform where we go deep into the nature of reality and we will understand how to make this knowledge a part of our life to achieve clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in this life. So, if you are interested to join ACS, we have created a free masterclass called the Conscious Living Blueprint, and I will link this after this video and also in the description. So you can register for this masterclass to learn more about conscious living and more about ACS and join our private community. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.